I'm here with Dr. Evandro Fei Fang. Evandro, welcome.
Nice to meet you, Alex.
Can you tell us a bit about your background?
Yes, so I was born in mainland China with training on medicine for my bachelor and master degree. Then I went to Hong Kong for 3 years training on drug development. It was during my time in Hong Kong I got the interest on aging research. Why we get gray hairs, why we lose muscle, why we lose memory. We want to know those things at molecular level. And this drives me to find a postdoctoral position in the United States, in the National Institute on Aging, which is the largest aging center in the world. And I had a 6 years training on aging with Professor Vilhelm Bohr, a Danish American professor, and Mark Mattson, who is a BBC invited authority on why and how exercise and fasting can help enable us live healthier and longer. And after that, I came to Norway 5.5 years ago. And I'm now an associate professor in University of Oslo, Faculty of Medicine, as well as Akershus University Hospital.
Interesting. The reason I came in contact with you is because I read an online article on the blue zones for longevity. Can you tell us a bit about those?
Yes, I think first I will share with you how the blue zones, the name come from. This name was coined by Michel Polilin and Giovanna Mario Pes in 2000. And then after 4 years, they published a scientific paper and released this name, blue zones. And the name of blue zone was originally for the people lived very longer in Sardinia in Italy. So Sardinia, Italy is the first one of the 5 blue zones in the world. And in total, there are 5, including Okinawa in Japan, Ischia in Greece, Sardinia in Italy, Nicoya in Costa Rica, as well as Loma Linda in California, the USA. So total 5 blue zones.
What are some of the common characteristics of those zones?
Yeah, it's very interesting. In addition to what I knew before, I also did a lot of additional research on those 5 zones because epidemiologists, they interview those people, see what makes them live longer. So these can be geographical reasons, culture reasons, correlated with diet, exercise, less pollution. I think as well as social activities. So I think you will ask me this at the end. But if we put the long story in short, what are the key factors to make those people live longer? So each including those factors you cannot choose by yourself. For example, genetic reasons. It's because somebody living in that area, they have genes makes them live longer, as well as culture reasons. For example, in Japan, they have a phase of what is the meaning for you to live every day, which can drive you to get up early, working harder, and fight against negative situations in your life,
Yeah.
as well as geographic reasons. For example, the tiny city in Greece, Ischia, because it's a mountain, it needs you to have physical strength to walk here and there. So those 3 are the parameters you cannot choose by yourself. There are other things for the general population who are the listeners you can learn. For example, diet, exercise, social activities. So those are the key. And if I want to add something more, that is annual health check.
Okay.
Yeah.
How important is the lack of pollution in these places?
For example, there have been a lot of studies showing how air pollution negatively affects your health of your lung as well as your brain. So there have been studies to show if you live in an environment with pollution, which enable you to get high chance of lung cancer among the other cancers, as well as low quality of your brain. So it's a risk for bad memory among the other disorders.
Because I've read some places that when the Industrial Revolution took place and years after, we saw an explosion in several diseases. How important was that in these lifestyle diseases we now see, especially in the West, maybe?
Definitely. So I think there are two major categories. The first one is occupational disease. The second one is the daily life of the general population. They are living in an environment which is not favored. As I mentioned to you, I had a bachelor degree of medicine with a major on preventive medicine. So one of the courses is occupational disease. For example, in the 1970s, if you work in the oil industry in Norway, people working with the oil industry, they have a high chance to get some skin disorders, as well as things related to the lung as well as to the nose. So if you expose those very lung without protection, you get cancer and different disorders we call occupational disease. Because we have uh, doctors at the preventive level, so they tell those workers to wear the masks to exposure in a short time period. And in many companies, they also encourage those workers exposed to the high risk things to retire earlier, 5 to 10 years earlier than the others, to reduce the chance to get the disease. Because it has been shown when you exposure to those toxic environment, you have a high chance to get disease to live shorter. Secondly, is regarding the air pollution, for example, which is a very common one, and its role to the general population. When I was doing my master's degree in Guangzhou, which is a city people speak Cantonese, as well as very close to Hong Kong, I have a colleague who comes from Germany, so who studied air pollution in Guangzhou and how it affects people's daily life. And there were evidence when you are in those unfavored air environment, it can affect many of your things. A direct way could be your lung quality, your absorption, but it can also indirectly affect your quality of life, your daily working routine, your concentration on doing the things. I think that is why government from many countries, including the developing countries, they pay more attention. A severe condition would be the things happened in, I think, in India. It has been a lot of news to show how the bad pollution affects people's life. If you follow up the news, I think a couple of weeks ago, it was because of the wildfire in Canada, which affected to the case in New York.
Yeah.
So those are all the things we need to pay attention to.
Yeah, I see. Are there any common characteristics of the diets in these five blue zones?
Yes, a common and a very consistent conclusion among those five blue zones, it is those people, they eat a vegetable or predominated diet routine with little and less meat compared with the other types of life of style. And speaking of the diet, for example, in Okinawa in Japan, a city, when I read the tips on how they live longer, why they live longer in Okinawa, it instantly reminds me of the case of my grandparents at my father's side, as well as my mother's side, as well as my parents. I was born actually in a village in the middle of China. It was after 19 years we moved to Shanghai, the metropolitan. So if you look over the lifestyle in Okinawa and my grandparents, they eat a lot of vegetables which are produced locally. Many of them are produced by themselves, so they can control the quality of them without adding like hormones or different things inside. And the second thing is using Okinawa, for example, they eat a lot of type of vegetables, but they highlight three. The first one is soy beans, which is a bean commonly eaten in Asian countries, and the material to make the tofu. So soybeans you can boil and eat directly. You can also ferment it. The good way for fermentation, including you increase more additional nutrients because the yeast will digest the fibers, makes it more easier to absorb when we eat it. And secondly, there are some yeast or bacteria in the fermented soybeans. When you eat it, it can also increase your microbiota. This has been a very, very hot topic in the anti-aging field. So it has been shown in our human body, we have billions of uh, bacteria, fungi, or different things in the gut. And there's a balance of them. So many of them participate in the digestion of fibers or any minerals we have to enable our body to absorb it in a better way. As a neuroscientist, it also has been shown when you have a good microbiota, your brain is also better. And the third thing, they also mentioned sweet potato. I also can see the cells in kiwi in Greenland, so people can buy. And there's one more plant or fruit called beet melon. In Japanese, they have another name, but the English name is, or it calls Japanese Goya, Goya, but the English name is beet melon. Have you heard this before?
No.
So beet melon is a type of fruits. You have the bumps under skin, like the toxic frog skin.
Oh, yeah.
This is a very common dish in Okinawa in Japan, as well as in southern of China, like in Guangzhou. So the taste is very bitter. The Indian people also eat this, but it's a bitter taste, as well as other minerals inside with anti-cancer activity.
I see.
I know this one very well because I had 3 years PhD studies working on this the molecules inside. I even edited a book with highlighting different molecules in plants, which with medicinal applications. And beet melon is one of them. I highlighted. Yeah.
There's a lot of discussion now, I guess, all over the world, and especially in Norway now with new nutrition advice coming out. And you have the meat eaters on one side and you have the plant-based on the other. Are there any conclusive studies and proof to show which is there one that's better than the other?
I got you. I think in the general population, they're always talking about black and white. As a molecular gerontologist working on aging research, we use animals to give evidence. Those are more unbiased. I think the long story in short is every type of food is important. It's the portion matters. To me, it is the dominant of vegetables with some meat. It is the best way.
Okay.
Nutrition is also one of the major courses which I learned when I was in college. So if you go to a medical school, especially in the School of Public Health, nutrition, we train the doctors called nutritionists who give advices to the general population on what type of food, what type of nutrition you need. So based on the comments from nutritionists, it is vegetable dominated. And if you just only vegetarian, actually this is not a good type of life. There are a lot of social media influencers that they only eat vegetables.
Yeah.
And the hidden story is many of them can also secretly need to have other meat-based things. Otherwise, they miss a lot of nutrition which cannot be supplied by only vegetables.
Exactly. You spoke a bit about aging, and we'll come into your different projects there. But what about fasting and intermittent fasting and that kind of stuff? What do you know about that?
Yes. So I think before I go to the fasting, I want to highlight the nutrition. I would say Norway has been very famous on the omega-3 fish oil, including krill oil.
Yeah.
So me and my former head of department, Professor Hilda Nielsen, we have been working with Marine, because Marine, they collected krill from Antarctic Sea, which will have the purest quality of krill, as well as with far less pollution. And they isolated the oil from inside, which contains omega-3 as well as other types of essential minerals. And we have our evidence in animals showing feeding our C. elegans, which is a type of animal, we make those animals live healthier and longer. They even can reduce the wrinkles in the animal. Because when you look under the microscope, they have
Hope
a
the
lot
women
of
are
wrinkles.
listening.
But when you take coral oil, it can dramatically make the skin much more smoother. There are many companies in Norway, I think, including NYO3, they have been producing such things. So, Alex, you also asked me regarding fasting. So this topic is very fascinating in the aging field. As I mentioned to you, I have two mentors during my postdoc. The second one, who is Mark Mattson. If you watch the BBC documentary, I think one documentary was focused on fasting and quality of life.
Okay.
He was one of the invited experts in BBC documentary. He strongly works on this field as well as he does it for himself. So the first thing is, I think fasting and exercise are the two very well conserved activities that make animals live longer and healthier. When we are talking about the fasting, we need to highlight not malnutrition. So even we do fasting, but the food we take provide essential nutrition. This is very important. We can't only highlight fasting. We also need to highlight during the fasting period, we still have access to essential nutrition to enable us to maintain our quality of life.
What does the research say on the different types of fasting?
So there are many types of fastings. For example, one common one, which is 16, which is 18 plus 6, which means within one day you limit your nutrition taken within 6 to 8, no more than 8 hours. The second one is every other day. So Monday with food, Tuesday no food, Wednesday with food, and so on and so forth. And the third one is we call 5-7 routine. Within 1 week, you pick up 2 days, which you will have less social activities as the diet routine. So among each one has its advantage as well as to benefit for different people based on what job or what social activities you do. I think Professor Mark Mattson, he has invited to write a review on fasting in New England Journal of Medicine, which is a top-notch clinical journal on health. So he summarized a lot of not only animal evidence, but clinical evidence on different types of fasting routine, as well as their roles in promoting health. One of the interesting things I want to share with you, it is, I think it was also the culture in China as well as in many other countries. It is before, if somebody has going to have a surgery or after the surgery, your relatives or caretakers, they normally ask you to take more nutrition because they expect you have surgery, and that is very high pressure to your body. However, my former colleagues who deceased at an early age of 45, he was a professor at Harvard School of Public Health. So he shows that if you, at least in animals, before the surgery, if you go for the fasting without malnutrition, actually after the surgery, it will recover faster. So this is whether it can be applied to humans or as well as on water surgery or disease that needs further discussion. But it shows at least we need to think about it. It doesn't mean always a lot of nutrition before the surgery is good.
Interesting. What about those extreme fasts, like people going a week with only water? What kind of benefits and what kind of harms could that lead to?
There has been a lot of debate on such things. Even you think Ramadan, even within 1 month fasting, but they still need to eat food. If they live in Norway, they may have a short period, a window to eat the food. A few months ago, I was invited to give a comment on a fasting program in the UK. I think it is hard to say, but my general comments is we need to, it's also, we need to do personalized thing. You need to find the way fits for you the best. If you are at the age of 70s and higher and with a lot of type disease, I don't think this 7 days fasting, even without water, is a good thing. No, you'd better have enough water for you for daily routine. The reason to have enough water, not overwhelming of water, because it can help to make your kidney to function well. And the kidney is an organ in our body to detoxicate many things. And your urine can help to dilute as well to get away a lot of toxins which you have in your daily life.
Yeah. In Norway, at least, we have been advised to basically never be hungry, to eat 3 or 4 big meals and then to have small meals in between. But when you think in evolutionary terms, we went days and at least a lot of hours in a day without food. So in logical terms, it doesn't make sense to me, those advice. What do you think of that?
Yeah, so I'm leading a course on the biology of aging, which is the first course in the whole Norway, telling the medical students as well as PhD on why we, getting older one day, because we have genetic code as well as other environmental factors to influence this. And Mark Mattson, my former mentor, who lectures one course, which is on fasting. So normally he starts with a picture showing in the old times, because before the humans are civilized, we going hunting. It's, when we are successful, we hunt a deer, which can last for many days. Then we will be hungry for many days.
Exactly.
We need to be concentrate and to be faster to get the next food to enable us to survive. So that was his concept. It may also make sense in the older days, even we do not have a lot of data, but seems they have less chance to get cancer, to get cardiovascular disease, to get high blood pressure, to get diabetes. It has been believed that diabetes is a modern disease. It's when we are getting richer, when you are getting more accessible to unlimited food, then you become to have this type of disease. We didn't have this before. So I would say if you return back to the 5 blue zones, one key point for them, it is they also eat, especially mentions the dinner. You do not eat very full, you eat moderate amount of dinner. And after the dinner, you do not go to bed right away. You do not just go to the sofa to watch the TV. You go outside, go for walking with your dog, with your family member. And this is a very important thing we need to do.
Yeah.
But Alex, I want to share with you, I have many Norwegian students as well as students from UK, from Denmark. Do you know, even they are at the early of their 20s, that is the reason they come to my lab to do aging research. But many of them, they go with a fasting routine, this 18 to 6 hours. So I think the new generation, even we can get access to the unlimited food, but they started to pay attention to the quality of life, even when they are very young.
Yeah, that's good. What about alcohol and sugar? Two things that are debated a lot. What can you say about that?
So I think if the listeners in this podcast, I think the key point is everything can be good or bad. The dose matters. So this also applies to sugar, to the alcohols, to the amount of exercises. So, for example, I think for me, a small amount of sugar, this is very essential for your daily life. When you get dizzy if you don't have breakfast, then you get a coffee, put some sugar inside, which can give you quick energy to maintain your quality of life. If you visit Shanghai in China, you'll find the housewives, they are very famous for cooking one type of dish that is pork. What is the thing to make the pork very tasty and less oily? It is the housewives. They put a small scoop of white sugar or brown sugar into the dish. Not too much, it can make the dish very tasty and less oily. And if you're speaking of alcohol, this is a more interesting topic. I have a lot of studies on this. I think for in Sardinia in Italy, the colleagues have included like 9 to 10 tips on why they live longer. One of the things is for the centenarians, they drink 1 to 2 glasses of red wine every day. So I think we need to mention it's a medium to small amount, not over. We do not encourage alcoholic or overconsumption of drink because this is bad for your liver, bad for your kidney. There has been shown overconsumption of alcohol can cause liver cancer as well as cardiovascular disease. However, I think small amount of alcohol, two things. The first one, it can increase your circulation, especially in winter time. It make you warmer. And there are also small molecules inside. Even there are debates. For example, Professor David Sinclair, the Harvard professor, in early 2004, he showed there's a small molecule called resveratrol in red wine, which can improve, the life as well as makes the animal more fit in high fat mice. Although whether resveratrol can extend lifespan, there are debates in the field, but indeed there are some replicable benefits there. For myself, I work on a molecule called NAD plus nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. So this molecule also available in both beer and milk. So I have encouraged my listeners to have a small glass of wine or beer in the evening. Not too much. As another thing, it is wine can help you to relax, can help you to reduce your pressure. And people may not notice after one day hard work, after your daily challenging, stress, continuous stress can make you aged faster. If you have a bath, talking to your family, a good meal with a small glass of wine, this can help you to reduce your pressure. And this is another way to make you look younger and also behave younger.
I see. I've listened to David Sinclair's podcast, and one of the things he mentioned is that in the studies in mice, They did all kinds of tests on different diets, and the only thing they found conclusive was that one meal a day increased the lifespan of the mice. And also, I'm interested in a lot of these studies, or most of these studies, are done in animals. How sure are we that this translates to us, to humans?
Yes. So David Sinclair is my career mentor who has promoted me a lot during my postdoc period. We have a joint good friend, Professor Rafa de Cabo, who is a Spanish American professor working on NIA, National Institute on Aging. Rafa has a student who is an Australian professor or researcher, Sarah Mitchell. We are best friends, so we work together in NIA in Baltimore for 6 years. Now she is a researcher in Princeton University. So she has a paper which I was also involved in. So she tried different types of way to feed in the mice. So for example, 10% less food, 30% less food, 50% less food, and she found 30% of less food showed the best benefit to the mice. And David Sinclair has also similar studies, as you pointed out just now. So I think definitely a reasonable less amount of food without malnutrition can increase lifespan in different types of animals, not only in mice, but also in the roundworm C. elegans, in banana fly Drosophila, as well as in monkeys. When I joined the NIA in 2012, there was one famous paper published by NIA. Although I think monkeys are not ethically allowed to do research in Europe, but it is allowed in Asian countries like Japan, China, and in the USA. So in Baltimore, USA, they have a large colony of rhesus monkeys, and they checked whether fasting or calorie restriction can make them live longer or not. Rafa de Cabo had a paper based on over 25 year studies in monkey, an animal much more close to human than the mice. And they show, unfortunately, they didn't see life extension in the monkeys. However, they see higher quality of the monkeys. When you see the furs of the monkeys, it's more beautiful and they have less chance to lose the fur. Very interestingly, at the time when we call the Baltimore or NIA monkey study published, their colleagues, I think in not university in the US, I forgot in which university, they published a similar paper, a similar topic of paper in Science. So Nature and Science, they are top leading journals in the field. And they show fasting or calorie restriction was able to extend lifespan as well as health span in their monkeys. Then those two research laboratories compared why, although we show both increase the health span, but how about the lifespan, why they are different. And they noticed that for the food, they fed in another institution a little bit different from that in the Baltimore one.
Okay.
And you also asked whether it can be translated to humans. So there are small clinical studies, and the results are a little bit complex. Some studies show it benefits, some studies show it does not. I'm not surprising because we have humans, they are not caged animals. In addition to fasting, there are many other factors can affect your quality of life. That is exercise, social activities, your economy, whether you can get access to the health concern. So all those things may directly or indirectly affect the results.
Can you talk a bit about, you have two projects that you are leading. Can you say a bit about those?
Yes. So actually, I have more than 30 projects we are working on.
Wow.
On the mechanism of aging, as well as on the development of novel anti-aging approaches. I can highlight a couple of them. I'm leading a laboratory between 12 to 15 students. They come from more than 8 countries, like in Italy, Spain, Denmark, the UK, Austria, China, Thailand. So it's a very international community. I want to highlight a couple of projects we're doing on. So the first thing we have been shown, not only us, but also our colleagues, showing this small molecule NAD+, also available in beer and milk. This molecule reduced to 25% in your blood when you are 65 years old compared to at your 20s. And this molecule, if our human body does not produce this molecule, it is estimated, maybe true or not, we will die in 25 seconds. So whether it's really short or not, that's just an estimation, but just to show how important this NAD molecule is. So why NAD molecule has been shown as an anti-aging molecule? Because when we supplement this NAD to animals, including mice, C. elegans, and bloodfly, we saw increased quality of life as well as longer lifespan. One of our studies has been shown taking this molecule can make the animal reduce their chance to get dementia. And we got the VG news before in 2019. And I'm very pleased this study in collaboration with this Danish medical professor Vilhelm Bohr enabled our colleague at Bergen to do a clinical trial. So they are now studying a clinical trial giving Alzheimer's disease patients with NAD+ precursor and see whether they can delay or slow down the disease progression. And the second project we are doing now is we are interested in whether exercise plus NAD can make us look more healthier and reduce the chance to get dementia. This is also related to our daily routine because you are a coach of sports. So this is very common for the not athletes, but also for people in the gym or daily lives. You take diet supplements as a way to either maintain your daily life as well as to maybe increase your exercise capacity. So we are interested in when you do exercise, like running the treadmill plus NAD, can make you look younger as well as have a better, sharp brain. And what we do, the running in the mice. So we have a treadmill machine, a little bit slope. So we force the mice to run in a speed they feel comfortable for 20 minutes per day. And we also feeding the mice with NAD. And our data show the mice, they look much more healthier and they can have reduced pathology for Alzheimer's disease. And we are now wrapping up this project, going to publish very soon.
What do we know about the causes of dementia and Alzheimer's disease? What do we know?
You mean the causes?
Yeah.
I think the major causes for dementia, people's death, it is because they lose memory. They cannot control their daily life. So many people, they die because they do not eat properly. They cannot swallow the things very well. So always because of malnutrition. And sometimes it's because of when you cannot control your daily life, even you have nurses and daily health care, you accelerate your rate of aging, including frailty. And this makes you have a high chance to fall down, to get different type of disease, then you die. Yeah. In Norway, it is a country of 5.5 million people. It is estimated we have 80,000 to 120,000 populations with dementia. So I want to share with you, when we are talking about dementia, this is a group of disorders which affecting your memory. And this is like an umbrella. It contains more than 10 disorders. And a common one, which is Alzheimer's disease. So Alzheimer's disease constitutes 70% of dementia, while dementia also including other disorders like dementia with Lewy body among the others.
Mm. And you just received a prize for your groundbreaking research in this study. Can you say something about that? What did you do? What did you find?
Yeah, I was very pleased to get award from His Majesty King Harold. It was
Congratulations.
thank you so much. I think I was thrilled to get this award because this is the most prestigious award on dementia in Norway. And previously, they gave to those highly distinguished either basic research professors or clinicians. And many of them won't get it until you are 60 or 65. So I was very happy I got it at the age of 40. So this award means a lot to me. What I would say is we unveiled the causes of Alzheimer's disease in a new angle, that is aging. If you're looking of the Alzheimer's disease patients around us, if we do not consider familial Alzheimer's disease, which constitute less than 1 to 5%, because they have genetic reasons they get from their parents, the majority, 95 to 99% of dementia people, they won't get it until you are 60s or 70s. So you had very good memory when you are at your 20s, 30s. You only get it when you are getting very old. That is because aging is one of the major driver of the disease. And as I told you, I had 6 years training on aging research with Vilhelm Bohr, the Danish professor. And at the same time, I got training on Alzheimer's disease with Mattson. So I was very fortunate to serve as a bridge to link the topic of aging and dementia together. And what we showed that when we are getting older, one of the causes for dementia is you have accumulation of garbage in the brain. When we are young, we have the garbage truck in our brain to clear the garbage very efficiently. However, like the car, when you drive for more than how many miles, the engine started to worn out and it works less efficiently. This also helps to humans. And the engine in our body causes mitochondria. So when we are getting older, we have more damaged mitochondria. They produce less energy, less power for the garbage truck to clean the garbage. And what we showed that if we can repair the damaged engine in the brain, which can help to increase the garbage recycling as well to reduce the progression of the Alzheimer's disease if we do not see stop of the disease. Another reason for me to get this award was I have helped, I think I was very fortunate to standing on the giant's shoulders, including Professor Jon Mattson, who is 82 years old, a very distinguished Norwegian professor, Professor Hilde Nielsen, Linda Bergson. So they are the leaders of the aging field in Norway. And working with them together, we have built a network. It's a Norway-based international network on aging research, another one on dementia research. We aim to bring not only scientists but clinicians, students, research together to fight against this devastating disease.
How long till we have a cure?
This is a very challenging question because we want to be responsible. I would say I am cautiously optimistic because of the advancement of the technology, the CRISPR technologies and the artificial intelligence. All those techniques makes us more faster than before to achieve a goal. I would say at least within the coming 10 to 20 years, we may not find a cure for the disease, but we could definitely find a way to slow down Alzheimer's disease. And my group has been done something on this. I have a student from Thailand, a country which they eat a lot of colorful fruits. And it has been shown in countries or regions you eat more colorful fruits, you have less chance to get dementia. This may be just a coincidence or can be a contribution. So my student brought a lot of passion fruit from Thailand and worked in Akershus University Hospital 3.5 years ago, before Norway closed its border because of COVID-19. And within the past over 3 years, Shu has the student, we call her passion fruit girl, a name from the NRK. So she has identified a molecule which can repair the damaged engine and to increase the garbage recycling. And the more exciting thing is this molecule is able to reduce Alzheimer's disease pathology in a human brain like organoid in a dish, because this is more close to humans rather than a mice. And she also showed this molecule is able to pass the blood-brain barrier, indicating if we take a capsule of this passion fruit molecule, there's a highly chance it can go to the brain. So we are very excited on this project, and we are going to submit this paper very soon.
Interesting. You spoke a bit about supplements. If you were to give advice, which supplements should a normal person take?
Definitely, I think I would like to make a conflict of interest statement, because when you ask me to advise any of the things, so I would recommend something first for this NAD plus. So me and Hilda Nielsen, we got the material transfer agreement from a company called Chromadex, which produce NAD precursor nicotinamide riboside. We do not get any money or payment from them. And secondly, for this krill oil, this Norwegian-based, I'm actually the chief scientific and medical advisor for this company, NYO3. So after this disclaimer, I would say it would be personalized as well as which country you are based. For example, I have a lot of foreign students. When they come to Norway, they become very tired in the winter. That's because they lack vitamin D. This is, you do not need to advise people to take in Spain or in Italy. So we need to consider the region specific. I would say the second thing is aging based. When we are getting older, what molecules are less in our body, and we want to increase and as a way to slow down the aging. So definitely NAD plus is one of them. There have been actually more than 20 clinical trials, including David Sinclair, who works on another precursor of NAD, showing the NAD precursors when you take a dose 0.5 to even 2 grams per day for up to 3 months or even 2 years without side effects. Definitely, whether I think a challenge to take those molecules is many of those molecules when you take, it can be easily digested in our gut by the gut microbiota. So that makes the scientist to find even better ways how to reduce the digestion by the microbiota, and to let the original one, which is bioavailable, to go inside to the blood. And the second thing, as I mentioned in the beginning of our podcast, that is krill oil. Norway has been very famous in producing krill oil as the best quality and with no pollution. So krill oil has more than 5 medical benefits related to minerals inside. One is omega-3, among another one which is choline, which is essential for the brain function. So those minerals are affluent in krill oil. I think a lot of Norwegians will take krill oil and fish oil as our daily routine. It has been shown good for the health, good for the brain, reduce heart disease and cardiovascular disorders. So if you are in Norway, definitely I recommend you to take it.
I took NAD plus and resveratrol as a supplement for around a half a year. Is that something I should start with again, do you think? Or is that something you should do when you get older?
I think it will. I'm not a real expert on those things. It's also based on my reading and my attendance of aging meetings. I would say it depends on what type of parameters. If you think about the wrinkles and losing the hair and those things, this may happen a little
It's
bit
gone.
earlier than the other things. Then you may need to consider at your 30s or even your 40s, because once the wrinkle is there, it's so hard for you to get rid of it. This is also similar to dementia. We ask people to take action at your 20s or 30s rather than waiting until you are 50s or 60s, because at the time you already lose neurons, which stores memory. However, if you do not have such concerns, but you majorly concern about your body shape, your muscle, your cardiovascular, I think you may not need to do that until at your late 40s or middle 50s. Yeah.
Okay. Evandro, is there anything else you would like to mention in this conversation?
Yes. So I would say one thing we haven't touched, that is social activities. That is very important for anti-aging, for our quality of life. So this covers a lot of things. Also is one of the reasons for those 5 blue zones. The social activities, including your family, your friends, your working environment. And speaking of the family, so it has been shown in Okinawa as well as in Italy and in Greece. Similar in China, there has been a routine. You live together with your children or even grandchildren. And some of the retired grandparents also taking care of the grandkids. On the one hand, definitely it increase your duty or pressure. But on the other hand, those family bondings, family ties are unreplaceable. Those makes them, on the other hand, to reduce their pressure, to make them to use their bodies, use their brains more, rather than sitting in front of the chair to watch the TV, because there's no interaction between the two. And secondly, it is the importance of the community and the friends. For example, in Loma Linda, it has been shown they have the Seventh Day Adventist Church, and the church advises them to go to the church once per week, because right now we have social media, we have cell phones, we have TV. Let people go to the church.
Yeah.
But I think it's not only the church. At least if you enjoy one community in your whole life, that is important. For Alex, maybe you have your, coach communities, your sports colleagues.
Yep.
For me, I have my badminton colleagues. I play badminton with them every Wednesday and Friday. So you need to find a community which support you, you can talk to, you feel comfortable. This is a way for you to reduce your pressure and a way to make you live healthier. And indeed, recently there was a study by an AI company which investigated a big population in China. They show, based on your self-report, if you report you feel pressure and unhappy, you live alone and you feel lonely, all those parameters make you have for 2 to 5 years older biological age than the others. What I refer to biological age means if I have a passport age of 40, but if I'm physically and mentally younger, I may have a biological age of 35 and vice versa.
Exactly.
And Alex, if I have one more minute, I would like to give the applause to the National Flanagan of Healthcare. So the English name is the National Health Association of Norway. This is a private foundation which also supports my research. I would give applause to this foundation, which give the money to the researchers as well as to do the things for the people with dementia. For example, I don't know whether you have watched the TV show Dementia Choir.
No, I just saw the link.
It is a NIK-based documentary produced last year with Kim and my two friends hosted those. They actually got a few awards from the Golden Window, including the Best Audience-based awards and Independent Producer-based. I think the key for them to get the Best Audience awards, it is they highlight the importance of playing music together to amalgamate those people with dementia together as a choir. They play together routine, and they find it can dramatically reduce their memory loss and it can make them happier. And I was pleased to know in Norway we have now opened 185 or even more community-based dementia choir. So this is such an important and nice way National Health Association as well as anybody who are involved in to make the elderly in Norway living happier and healthier. And this can, on the other hand, dramatically reduce the healthcare pressure to the country. So I thank all those people who are involved in such activities.
Evandro, at the end, I would like to ask you, as I ask all my guests, what is the meaning of life?
This is a very important thing. I would also want to highlight this is also one of the key reasons, key linkages for the centenarians in Okinawa in Japan. So this is a city with most percentage of numbers of female longevity residents there. And one of the aim for them of life, it is the meaning of your life. And I think the meaning of life is what makes you happy and fruitful. And when you are in bad or good situations, what makes you to get up earlier to do the things in passion. For me, I would say it is, I have my partner, I have a very happy family. I want to live healthier and happier to train more young generations who are working on aging research, to foresee my grandchildren, if I can have one day, how they enjoy their life, and to envision how the society and the world change in the coming 40 years or even longer.
Thank you, and I wish you all the best in your research.
Thank you, Alex, for inviting me, and I wish the best on your program.
Tusen takk for at du hørte på Bendixen Airways. Dersom du har tips, kommentarer eller vil gi en vurdering av episoden, så gjør gjerne det. Det setter jeg stor pris på.